Assalamualaikum. So today in today's class we're going to solve the paper 2 of October November 2025. So let's begin. First question is which quantities are both vectors? So it's option A because acceleration and force both are the vectors, right? Here pressure is scalar, density is scalar, and okay. In question 2, how is the deceleration of an object calculated from a speed time graph? So, speed time graph, we calculate the slope of it. Slope gives you the acceleration or deceleration. It's option B that is correct. In question 3, a space probe that has a mass of 600 kg is on the planet Mars. The acceleration of the free fall on the Mars is given. So this is, you can say, g for the Mars. This is m. You have to find the weight. We know the relation w is equals to m into g. You just have to put the values 600 into 4. That will give you 2400. It's option C that is correct. In question 4, students are asked to predict the order in which three liquids P, Q, and R will float on each other. They are told that the liquid will not mix. The diagram shows how the density of the liquid P is determined. Okay, the liquids are poured gently into a tall beaker and allowed to settle, which diagram shows the liquid will settle in the correct order. Okay, what we know, more dense, if you see, it should be like there should be highest density liquid and there should be lowest density liquid. Okay, so what we need the density for the liquids. Okay, we know the density of Q and we know the density of R, and for liquid P we have the data. We know the density is equals to mass divided by the volume. Okay, so they are telling you here the mass of only the beaker, the mining slider, and when the liquid is added the mass is this. So the mass of the liquid will be the difference in masses of this. So it will be 69 minus 45. That will be a mass, and volume is 20 centimeter cube. Okay, so when we do the calculations it will give us 8.33. Okay, so that is the density of P. So if you see density of P is 8.33, then you have density of R, that is 1.1, and then there is a density of Q, that is 0.75. So this should be at top and this should be at bottom. Okay, so let's look at the option where the P is at bottom and Q is at top. It's option C that is correct. Okay. In question 5, a force is applied to a spanner as shown. Which action increases the moment of the force about the center of the nut? Okay, movement we know it is force time distance between the pivot point and the force. So it's option A that is correct. Applying the force to the right hand side. When you apply the force on the right hand side, it will increase the distance between the pivot and the force. Okay, that is D. In question 6, the diagram 1 shows a ball of mass 0.15 kg, let's call it m1, traveling horizontally with a velocity of this, let's call this u1, towards ball boy traveling with a velocity of this, let's call this u2, to the opposite direction. Diagram shows the velocities of the ball immediately after they collide. Okay, what is the mass of the ball? So you have u1, you have u2, you have m1, you don't have m2. Okay, so what we can apply a principle of momentum. So the relation is m1 u1 plus m2 u2 will be equals to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Okay, what the trick is, what we take the velocity towards the right hand side we will take positive, and velocity towards the left hand side we will take negative. Okay, so you can say if u1 is positive, the u2 is negative. Same as if this is positive, this will be taken as negative. Okay, now let's put the values. What we will get, m1 is 0.15, u1 is u1 we have 2.1, plus m2 is unknown and u2 is minus 0.4, is equals to m1 is 0.15 and v1 is minus 1.4 plus m2 is unknown into plus 1.1. Okay, now we just have to simplify this thing. Okay, when what we can do, you can open these brackets and we can take this thing. It will be 0.15 into 2.1 minus 0.4 m2 is equals to 0. There is a negative sign, minus 0.15 into 1.4 plus 1.1 m2. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this thing on the left and this thing on the right. This thing will give me 0.15 into 2.1 plus 0.15 into 1.4 is equals to 0.4 m2 plus 1.1. Okay, simplifying this thing, you will get 0.525 is equals to 0. So it will be 1.5 m2. So m2 will be 0.525 divided by 1.5. The final answer will be 0.35. Okay, so it's option C that is correct. Okay, let's move forward. Question 7. A mass is suspended from a vertical spring. The mass is pulled downward, causing the spring to extend further. The mass is held in this position and then released. Which energy changes occur during the initial movement of the mass during the... Okay, so let's suppose this is the spring and there is some mass and you are going to release it. When you release, it will move upward. Okay, so when you it will move up, it will gain gravitational potential energy. Okay, okay, and when it will move, it will speed up, right? So it will gain kinetic energy, and when you release, the stretch in the spring will decrease, so it will lose elastic potential energy. Okay, so it's option D that is correct. Okay, which energy source resource stores kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is in wind power. Okay, coal have thermal, nuclear have nuclear energy, solar will use the light. Okay, the wind only use the kinetic energy. Two beakers are filled to the same depth, one with the water and one with the oil. The density of the water is given. The density of the oil is also given. In which position is the pressure be the greatest? Okay, so the pressure in liquids is equals to rho gh. So you can say pressure is directly proportional to rho. So density will be obviously greater in water. Okay, secondly, we know pressure is directly proportional with the depth. So it will be point B. Okay. Moving forward, question 10. The pressure of the air in a car tire rises after a long journey. This is caused by a change in the average speed of the air particles and a change in the temperature of the air in the tires. Which row describe the change that have caused the air pressure in the tire to rise? Okay, when the tires will move, they will gain the thermal energy because of the friction, right? So the temperature will increase, and we know temperature is directly proportional with the kinetic energy. So you can say they will gain the average kinetic energy and the particle's temperature will also increase. That's option D. Question 11. In which range of temperature is water a liquid? Okay, we know water is liquid from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, this is between these temperature it will remain liquid. Okay, so for the Kelvin, what you have to look, 0 degrees Celsius is 273 Kelvin. Okay, and 100 degrees Celsius is 373 Kelvin. Okay, so it's option D. You just have to add 273 into the number to get the Kelvin scale. In question 12, the diagram represents the particle arrangement in sample of three different substances, P, Q, and R. The sample have equal volume and the same temperature. The samples are heated, the temperature increase of each sample is the same and no changes of state take place. Okay, this is very important that you need to keep in mind. Which row shows possible percentage increase in volume for the percentage? Okay, first you need to know what sample is showing which state of the matter. This will be the gas. They are at a very high distance. This should be the solid because they have proper rows and proper columns, and they are close but not in a regular manner, so this should be liquid. Expansion is maximum in gases and minimum in solids. Okay, so from there you have to look at the table. So it's option C that is making sense. Okay, because solid, P is the solid, so it will have, sorry, Q is the solid, so Q will have the minimum, and gas, R is the gas, so this is solid, this is gas, so gas should have maximum. Okay, so it's option C. Question 13. A cup contains 0.25 kg of water at a 60 degrees Celsius. Sometime later, the water has cooled to 20. Okay, you can say this is Ti, this is Tf. Let me write as capital Ti and capital Tf, and this is M. How much energy has been transferred from the water to the surrounding? The specific capacity is also given. So for energy, you have relation E is equals to mc delta T. Just have to put the values. Mass is 0.25. C is 4200, and change in temperature is 40. 20 minus 60 you can do, or you can do 60 minus 20. Okay, sure choice. So it will give you 42000 joules. It's option B that is correct. In question 14, a pure substance is heated slowly. The temperature of the substance is measured as it start to melt and when it is finished melting. Which statement is correct? Okay, so it's basically change in state. Which statement is correct? It's option D is correct. Why? Because temperature will not change during the change of state. The energy provided will be used to break the bonds. Okay. In question 15, a lamp has a metal filament that glows when heated by an electric current. The middle of the filament has a very high temperature. The end of the filaments are connected to the base of the lamps and are cooler. Which statement is correct? Okay, so it's a filament lamp and you are heating its one side and the other side is cooler. So which statement will be correct in that case? Then statement A, some thermal energy is connected in the base of the lamp. Yes, it will be connected. Okay. In B, they're saying thermal filament radiate energy equally at all point along it. No, it will not radiate equally. The area with the higher temperature will radiate more. Okay, so this is not the option. C, the lamp transfer all of the input energy as a visible. No, some of the energy will be wasted in terms of heat or something else. When the potential difference across the filament is half, the power output is half. No, because there is only filament is not attached with the battery. Okay, so what you can say, the potential difference across the filament is halved, then even power will not be half. There are other factors like the current will also determine what will happen. Okay, so it's option A that is correct. Because the filament, D is not correct because the filament are connected to the base of lamp, and there is Okay. In option 16, a liquid passes through pipe inside a refrigerator. The liquid warms as the inside of the refrigerator cool. The warm liquid is then passes through a pipe on the outside of the refrigerator to cool it before it goes back through the refrigerator. Okay, so the liquid is used to cool the to cool inside uh, the refrigerator, and then that liquid will move out and it will be lose its heat in the outer environment through these pipes, and then it will go back to do the cooling, right? The diagram shows two designs for these outside cooling pipes. One design has a copper rod called fins attached to the pipe. The outside pipes and the fins can be painted silver or black. Which design of outside pipe will cool the liquid most quickly? Okay, so the heated liquid will come out and it have to be cooled down. So what we need the fastest way to make it to lower its temperature, right? So this way is the fastest way because there is maximum conduction. There are fins attached with it. Secondly, we will color it black so it can radiate more heat and will go towards the lower temperature. So it's option A, painted black with fins. In question 17, an earthquake monitoring station records the arrival of 16 complete wavelengths of an earthquake wave in a time of 20 seconds. The speed of the earthquake wave is given. Okay, this is number of waves. This is the time. What is the wavelength of the earthquake waves? Okay, you have to find the wavelength, lambda. Okay, we know from the wave equation V is equals to F lambda, and you have to find lambda, so lambda is equals to V by F. You have the V, sorry, V is it's 6 kilometer per second, so it will be 6,000 meters per second. 6,000, but we don't have the F. For F, we know F is number of waves, number of waves per unit time. Okay, so number of waves are 16 and time is 20. Okay, so you will get frequency 0.8 hertz. You just have to put this thing here and it will give you 7500. Okay, or you can write it in the standard form 7.5 10 raised to power 3. Okay, it's option D that is correct. Moving forward, question 18, which statement is correct? Okay, in statement A, seismic S waves are longitudinal, no, they are transversal. Sound waves are longitudinal, yes. Question 19, a water droplet is falling towards a horizontal plane mirror. At one moment, the droplet is a distance of 1.5 meter above the mirror and falling at a speed of 2. Okay, let's make the scenario. Let's suppose this is the mirror. Okay, and the droplet is here. Okay, so this is the droplet. Its distance from the mirror is 1.5 meter and its speed is 2.0 meter per second. What is the distance between the droplet and the image? Okay, we know the image will be exactly same distance behind the mirror, so there will be an image of the droplet. Okay, so this is 1.5. So what they are asking, they're asking us the distance between the object and the image. So this will be 1.5 plus 1.5, this will be 3. Okay, so you have to choose between option C and D, and as fast the object is moving close to the mirror with the same speed, the image will move close to the mirror. Okay, so it will be this option C, the speed will be same. Question 20, total internal reflection may occur when light reaches an air glass boundary. Under which condition is the light totally internally reflected? Okay, medium in which light travel, it should be a denser medium. Okay, so it should be a glass, option C and D, and greater than critical angle. Okay, so these are the two conditions. Light should move in a denser medium, should be moving in a denser medium, and the angle of incidence must be greater than critical angle. Question 21. A long-sighted person cannot see objects clearly that are a short distance away because the image is blurred. Where is the image formed relative to the retina and which type of the lens is used to correct long-sightedness? Okay, when there is a long-sightedness, the image is formed behind the retina. and you use the converging lens for this purpose. Okay. In question 22, what is the speed of the IR radiation in glass with a refractive index of 1.5? So you have n. The relation is n is equals to c by v. Okay, if we have to find v will be c by n. C is speed of light in the vacuum divided by n is 1.5. This will give you 2.0 into 10 raised to power 8. It's option B that is correct. Question 33. Sound travels through air as a series of compression and rarefactions. Which statement correctly compares a compression with a rarefaction? Okay, so compression is the area of higher density or the higher pressure. Okay, so you can say C. Achha, compression and rarefaction will not tell you anything about the wavelengths. Okay, which statement about magnets are correct? Magnets are made from Permanent magnets are made of steel, yes. Electromagnets are temporary magnets, yes. A magnet can be used to induce magnetism and an iron bar, yes. So all the statements are correct. So it's option A that is true. Question 15. In a circuit, two identical lamps are in parallel. The parallel pair of lamp is in series with a resistor and a battery. Okay, so let's make this scenario first. You have two lamps, they are parallel with each other. Okay, and the parallel pair of is in series with a resistor and a battery. So there should be a resistor, there should be a battery, okay, and okay, that's it. This is the complete circuit that we have. Okay, let's make the battery here. Okay, it will not make any difference wherever you make it. So this is a battery and there is a lamp and a resistance R. These are the lamps. The battery does 120 joules of work on a 50 coulomb of charge. So 120 joules of work per 50 coulomb of charge. So this is the potential difference, the EMF basically that they are giving you. So this is the EMF of the battery. That is 120 divided by the 50. What they are asking, the electromotive force of the battery and the potential difference across one lamp is V. Okay, so for one lamp, the potential difference is V. Which statement about E and V is correct? Okay, so E is 2.4. Okay, when you calculate it, this is 2.4. Okay, this is correct. EMF is 2.4. These are wrong, so you have to choose between A and B. And V is 0.8. Potential difference will be 0.8. Okay, how we can check it? Basically, if you see, the charge is moving, 50 coulombs of charge is moving through it. Okay, when the 50 coulomb charge reach at this point, these charges have two choices. They can move from here and they can move from here. As both lamps are of the same resistance, they are identical lamps, so 25 coulomb will move from there, 25 coulomb will move from there. Okay, and what we have, each lamp have 40 joules. So we can find the potential of the lamp. So V will be equals to energy divided by the charge. It will be 40 by 25. So that thing will be equals to 2.4, 1.6. Okay. So it's option B that is correct. Moving forward, question 26. Two wires X and Y are made from the same metal and have the same resistance. Which row identifies a possible pair of values for X and for Y? Okay, what the conditions are, they have should have same resistance and they're made up of the same metals. Okay, we know resistance, and in these conditions you have the different lengths diameters for both the wires. We know resistance is directly proportional with the length and inversely proportional with the area. So if R is same, length over area should be same. The ratios should be same. But we don't have the area, we have the diameter, and now we know that the area is directly proportional with the diameter square. Okay, so you can say length over diameter square. Okay, so you can take the values of these, you can find it. Like if you try the part A, it will be let's check for the A, 50 over 0.40 square. Okay, that thing will give you 312.5. Okay, and if I check these two values, okay, I'm doing it for C. A will not be equal. Okay, A is not. So in C, 200 over 0.80 square, that will also give you 312.5. Okay, so you can check it like this. You can take the ratios, you can check them one by one. This will not be equal, this will not be equal. See the ratios, ratio of this and ratio of this will be equal. Okay, and don't forget to take the square on the diameter. It's option C. In question 27, which circuit contain a light emitting light dependent resistor, LDR? It's option D. This thing is the LDR. Okay. In question 28, a teacher asked three students to write down an equation to determine the combined resistance RC of the resistors with resistances RY and RC. Which students are correct? Okay, this is the correct formula. This is not, and this is also not. Okay, so it's only student 1 is correct. Okay, that is for the parallel. You have to memorize this thing. Okay, if you rearrange this formula, it's not equals to this thing, and it's not equals to this thing either. Question 29. An electrical appliance has a symbol on it to indicate it is a double insulated. Which statement is correct? Okay, if you remember the electrical safety topic, it is from there. So for 29, when something is double insulated, it's mean a two-core flexible cable with no earth wire is used to connect to the main supply. Okay, when you're not using the earth wire, what you will do? You will double insulate it. Okay. Question 30. A length of wire move across the space between the poles of a magnet. A voltmeter measures the electromotive force generated between the two ends of the wire. What give the highest reading on the voltmeter? Okay, the induced EMF is directly proportional to relative speed. It's also directly proportional to strength of magnet. Okay, so it's option B that is correct. Moving fast and you have stronger magnets. In question 31, the diagram shows a simple AC generator. What is connected to G and H so that the alternating current can be provided to the external circuits? Cell is not, commutator is not, there is a slip ring. Okay, when you talk about AC generator, there is a slip ring. Soft iron core is also not. This is in the transformer. 32. The diagram shows the coil in a DC electrical motor in two positions. As the coil rotates through 180 degree, the direction of the current in the coil reverses from clockwise to anti-clockwise. Which part of the motor is responsible for reversing the current? Okay, so this is from the DC motor. When the coil will change its position, the direction of current will also be reversed to make possible the continuous rotation of the coil. So we use split ring commutator in that. Okay, it's option D. Question 33. The arrow shows the path of an alpha traveling towards the center of a gold nucleus. Which description of the path of the alpha particle after striking the gold nucleus is correct? If you see, it's going to collide directly to the nucleus, so it will bounce back. It will go back. Okay, it's from the Rutherford experiment, so it should be option B. The alpha is deflected back along its initial path. Okay, so a teacher writes the nuclear equation for a fusion reaction. What is the missing number X and missing element Q? Okay, so you have to use the balancing of equation. The masses should be same, so you can, if I use the mass number, 2 plus x should be equals to 4 plus 1. From here, x equals to 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, so when we use the okay, that's it, you have to find x. So x is 2 and it will be helium. Okay, it's option, sorry, it's not 2, it's 3. Yes, we have calculated, it should be from C and D, and it's helium, it's option D, that is correct, my mistake. Question 35. Radon gas is a source of radiation that contribute to a background radiation. What does not contribute to the background radiation? Okay, so background radiation are not coming from the seismic waves, okay? They come from the electromagnetic wave, they come from the food and drink, they come from the rocks, but they don't come from the seismic waves. Two beam of radiation P and S enter electric field. Which type of radiations are P and S? Okay. If you see P is going towards the positive, so P should be negative, and S is moving towards the negative, so it should be positive. So this should be option A. In question 37, which change take place in the nucleus when it decay by beta emission? Okay, so when there is a beta emission, neutron change into a proton and electron. Okay. In question 38, a space probe measures the gravitational field strength at different distances from a planet. The point furthest from the planet is made first and point nearest to the planet is made last. Which order were the measurements taken? So what you need to keep in mind, G gravitational field strength is inversely proportional to the distance from planet. Okay, so if you are away, the strength will be less, and if you are close, the strength will be more. So the order will be this. They are coming close to the planet. Okay, the point furthest from the planet is made first, so it will be the lowest, and nearest will be measured last, so this will be highest value. Question 39. The galaxy Draco 2 is the distance of this much meter from the Earth. What is the distance in light year? Okay, we know 1 light year is equals to 9.5 10 raised to power 15 meters. So you have to change 6.6 into 10 raised to power 20 meters into light years. So you just simply divide this thing with this number. This will give you 6.9 10 raised to power 4 light years. Whenever you have to convert from meters to light year, you will divide by this factor. Question 40. What is the possible result of supernova explosion? Supernova will cause a neutron star. Okay, so that's it for this paper. See you in the next class.